Okay, so in this video we will talk about e-readers, e-ink based e-readers, and compare them to use an iPhone or iPad for reading ebooks. iPhones, iPads and other smartphones and tablets uses LCD displays or OLED displays or LED displays, and real e-readers uses e-ink instead. So what's the benefits with using e-ink e-readers instead of using a normal tablet or smartphone? Well, there are many benefits with that. One of them is that you don't get eye strains, your eyes doesn't get tired as easily, you don't get headaches because of PWM, pulse width modulation, that LCD displays uses, and also LCD tablets has backlight instead of front light. An e-reader uses front light when you need it. So for example, this Kobo Libra, as you see here now, I have some front light on, 22%. That means that the front line is shining down on the text instead of from the backside up into your eyes. It has some LED lights that are above the e-ink display, so it uses from above down on the text. An LCD display like iPhones, for example, uses, it has the other way around. It has the light up shining into your eyes. So for example, now I have a filter on to have as much white light taking off from the display, but if I have that on, you see that the light is more shining than it is from front light. So if we turn off all the lights on this Kobo Libra, it still is enough light, because in this studio I have studio lights, so you can easily read books without any light whatsoever. That is impossible with an iPhone or iPad or other smartphones or tablets, because all smartphones and tablets needs light to be able to see. So you can't even turn off all the lights. You see here, if I turn off all the lights, it's still on. This is not off. This is the minimum light you can have on this device. So even if it shows that it's off, it isn't, because it needs to have some backlight on. And as you can see, it could be really bright if you want, but usually you need to have as much light as possible. The more light it is in the room or outside on a smartphone. The other way around is on e-ink e-readers. The more the light is in the room, the less front light you need. So the more light you have, as in here you have a lot of light, then I can turn off all the lights, as you see here, off, so I don't have any light whatsoever on. But on an iPhone or other smartphone, it's the other way around. The more light it is, the more light you need to be able to see. And that is the huge difference between the LCD and an e-ink display when it comes to light. So basically you can use an e-reader like this with completely no light on the display whatsoever, as I have here, off. And you can still read with great pleasure. But you can't do that on an LCD smartphone. And when you are out in direct sunlight, it's quite impossible to read on a smartphone or a tablet like the iPad here, because it's no matter if you have the phone set to max light, you can still be able to read in direct sunlight, because the display is still too dark to be able to read, and that is because the sun is still much lighter than the display is. So that means that you can't use an iPhone or an iPad outside in direct sunlight when reading. For example, when you're sunbathing or something, then you can't use an iPhone or iPad to read a book on. It's impossible. So that's also a huge difference. So with an e-reader like this, then it's very, very, very easy to read outside in direct sunlight. As you see here, I have the light off on this Kobo Clara 2, as you see here. So it's very easy to read in this very lit room, the studio here. And also outside, the more light, the more sunlight you have, it's easier to read on an e-ink based e-reader. The more light, it's easier to read. The other way around on an LCD or an iPad, smartphone or tablet. And here we have an Onyx Box Palma. It's designed as a smartphone, but it still uses an e-ink display. So it's the same, exactly the same as with the Kobo and Libra here. You don't need any light to read, and it automatically turns off the light when you have enough lights in the room. And when you are in a darker room, it turns on the front light so you can read easier, totally automatically. So it starts with have the lights off and it turns it on. The more darker the room you are in, the more in the evening or night and so on, it turns on the light for you so you can read with pleasure. So an e-ink e-reader is much, much easier to read on when it comes to having light in the room or outside. But when you're using an iPhone, for example, in complete darkness in your bedroom, for example, then they really hurt your eyes because of the light the display uses. Even if you turn off all the lights in the settings on an iPhone, it still is too light for your eyes when reading. And also the absolute glare you have when using a smartphone is totally too much. If you have this device, for example, yes, it still have some glare, but not as much as on a smartphone, because a smartphone has too much glare, so you can't be able to read sometimes because of the glare, but you still can on an e-reader. So the displays itself doesn't need any light when it comes to e-reader, but smartphones and tablets needs light. Another huge benefit with e-reader is the battery life. So for example, this Kobo Libra here, it uses battery, yes, but only when you're turning pages. So when I go back and forward, it uses power. It uses energy from the battery. But you can still have it like this for many, many hours, many, many days without it using any power from the battery. So the display itself doesn't use any energy or power from your battery. Only when you're turning pages, an e-ink display uses power. So that means that you can easily have, for example, on Onyx Box Palma, you can actually have a screensaver option to have it just sleep with the last page you're on. So if I am on this page and I have that screensaver option on, then it will be in sleep mode with the text visible still. So that is amazing with e-readers. So when you don't do any page flipping, the display itself doesn't use any power. The only thing that can use power is if you have the front light off, or if you have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth on. So if you have light on, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth on, then it uses power. But if you have all the front light off, as I have now, but still can read with huge, perfectly fine pleasure, then it doesn't use any power, but I have a Wi-Fi on here, as you see. But you can do settings in your e-reader that turns off the Wi-Fi when you don't need it anymore. And the same with Bluetooth. So battery life on e-readers could last for ages if you don't use them. For example, if you have it in sleep mode, it can last for many months. And when you're using them, they last for a couple of weeks at least, depending on which device we are using. So the battery life compared to smartphones and tablets is much better. It's like night and day actually. They have so much better battery life than smartphones and tablets. Another huge benefit with an e-reader is of course that you don't have any distractions. You have only a reading option and nothing else. You can only read books on an e-reader. That is true for these kinds of e-readers, but this one is an middle option, actually, Onyx Books Palma that runs Android. You have e-ink and you have Google Play Store, so you can basically install any app and use this on the device. As you can see here, I have some options to read books at, but I have also options to watch and read my email, as you can see there. And also I have a web browser, I can see my comments on YouTube and so on. So I have some distraction when it comes to ebook reading with this device if I want. But I don't need to install those apps. I can only have reading apps on this if I want. So basically an e-reader that only uses e-reading apps doesn't have any distractions. But a smartphone that has a 5G modem and Wi-Fi always on and everything you have notifications all the time, and you use it for so much more than just ebook reading, then you have so much distractions. So that is a huge difference too when it comes to ebook reading. The same with iPad and smartphones. You have so much to do on them, so you get distractions actually. So that's also a benefit with ebook reading on real e-readers. And also e-readers doesn't need internet if you don't want to. That I have Wi-Fi connected on this one, for example, as you see down here, is because I want to sync my reading progress with my other devices like the Kobo Clara and also the Onyx Books Palma, and also a BigMe ebook reader I have, and also sometimes I can actually sync them between my Storytel account, for example, can sync them between my iPhone, iPad, and all these ebook readers too. So sometimes I need Wi-Fi to have it available for more features. Also when transferring books from Calibre wirelessly, I use Wi-Fi. But you actually don't need Wi-Fi or internet on an ebook reader. If you fill the storage option on these, so you have it filled with hundreds and thousands of books, you basically never need internet again. You actually don't need internet actually. You don't need that. If you have all the books you want for the rest of your life on them, you don't need internet. You only need to charge them once in a while, and then you can only read books on them for the rest of your life. One last benefit I will have in this video with ebook reader is actually that you automatically get the book cover on the display when you have them in sleep mode. So that is also quite nice to have, so you can see the book cover on the ebook reader itself. Yes, you can manually set the book cover on a smartphone, for example, as your screensaver background. I could have the same book here on this background if I want, but I need to do that manually every time I switch a book. But on these ebook readers, I have that automatically set, so I always have the book cover on them. I can also do that on Onyx Books Palma, to have the book cover always display the right book in totally automation. But I don't do that on this one because I use this for a bit more stuff than reading. I use it as I saw before, reading mail and so on. Sometimes I do some Reddit browsing and more. So that's why I don't show the cover on that, but I can do that if I want. So that also a benefit with e-readers. So that was some of the benefits using an e-reader instead of your smartphone or your tablet. I have some comments on my YouTube video sometimes from some users that say they don't get it, why buy an e-reader when you have your smartphone always with you. You can read books on your smartphone instead. Yes, you can, but then you have some problems also that I talked about in this video. You have so much more benefits using a real e-reader. So that is the short answer to those comments. Okay, bye.